Good morning. Good morning. Having one of those mornings where there's that horrendous, crushing realization that you are the same age as and look like your main teacher at primary school.
God, you're lucky you can remember.
Well, I had eyes. Mr. Wood. I look like Mr. Wood.
God, my first teacher was Mr. Wood.
We have this conversation every time.
Oh.
No. You have the same level of surprise, like we've not discussed it 30,000 times.
I've got the brain of a fucking goldfish.
No, you are like, no, you haven't. Well, you've got the brain of, what's Dory? Finding Nemo, which is the one that's
Dory.
Going in circles, in circles. Oh, you're now going to destroy the peace and tranquility I've got. Just remove yourself. Because I tell you what, Nadia's now got this thing on her Instagram app where when she does a live or films, it inadvertently zooms in of its own accord on her. What's weird about that? That is a great metaphor for what she's like. She walks into a room and she zooms into your business. She literally is in your business.
Lucky you. There's plenty of a fella that likes to be in their business.
I love being in your business. Is anyone here a Flight of the Conchords fan? And didn't they do a song about Nookie, which was like getting down to business or something? Morning, Richard. How are you? Hope you're well. Faith Goodman, just seen Sky is stopping broadcasting the Oscars. Well, yes, I saw that this week, and can't say it's a massive loss. I mean, really, it just felt like a couple of people sat in a cupboard. Morning, Natasha Milch and Ellery Jones. Good morning, everyone. Good morning if you're listening on podcast. It's the Saturday papers. There's no curly cooks today because Dina is at a swingers resort. Just need to put it out there. She pretends that she's not interested in these things, but actually she is. She's out there. She's doing her thing. She's having a great time. Just don't tell her I told you. Me too. They should just stream the Oscars now and earn ad revenue that way. Do they not do that? Is there not a live Oscar feed on? No, there isn't, is there? No, they do a cut down. Good morning, Selena Lou Fogg. Happy birthday. I wish I didn't have to wear these. Happy birthday to you. When I'm in extreme sunlight, I don't need to wear my glasses, which is really nice. But it's not extreme. Well, it's sunny. Is it sunny where you are? Anyway, okay, let's have a look at the papers. So there are obviously lots and lots of the papers are carrying the story surrounding Nadia emptying her bowels in the background. That literally sounded like you just decided to release. And release. Did you hear that? Did you hear the... Richard Grinley just deciding whether to run, ride, or do a fashion shoot. Richard, I'm sure you're going to do all of them, and you'll have done them all before 11. That was a whoosh. It was a hell of a whoosh. I mean, you know, release the beast, Lee Doran, or even realize the beast. Absolutely. Obviously, a lot of the papers are running with the tragic sort of aftermath photographs, cleanup operation that's beginning in Hawaii. Oprah Winfrey has offered aid. The death toll stands at 55. There's over 1,000 missing. I just found that likening of the fires and the winds to a blowtorch, incredibly vivid description of how fast these things can develop, how rapidly they can develop. And so it's just the photographs of, I don't know if you can see there, you can see all the little swimming pools that would have been, you know, belonged to these kind of condominiums or apartments or properties or what have you. British holidays couple and nightmare in Hawaii, killer fires, family cowered from flames. I mean, obviously we've heard stories of, people having to dive into the sea. I mean, the back end of all of this, obviously absolutely catastrophic images there. There's a sort of before and after. This is someone who's not there at the moment. He's from Hawaii. I'm terrified for my neighbors. Not sure if I have a home to go back to. This was a town, and then this was it afterwards. So you've got your before and after. Oh, just horrendous. Just absolutely horrendous. And it's the thing that strikes me. It's a bit like the Rhodes thing, isn't it? And the Greek islands thing is, you know, I mean, like if any of us were entertaining thoughts of going to Hawaii, we probably aren't now. And it's terrible, isn't it? Because, you know, is this a symptom of? I mean, it was interesting. Who did I talk to? Oh, I was talking to Nadia's dad. I said, "How's the Middle East coping with, you know, a similar uptick in temperatures and stuff like that?" And he made a really, in classic Teddy fashion, he made such a simple observation. He said, "There's nothing left to burn," and he didn't mean like stuff had been burnt by people. He said, literally, the landscape is so barren, it's so arid, it's so dry that you could argue that, you know, when these things happen, can they happen in the same place again in quite the same way? I mean, you know, it's a terrible kind of potential silver lining, I suppose, but there is some aspect. But then again, I remember in the 80s, I always remember whenever we went to, I went to Ibiza, went to Spetze, it was my first Greek island. I remember there being the debris of fire. So I think it's important to remember there have always been fires, wildfires. And there is that aspect of the press seeking clickbait. So one has to balance the two out for sure. And as Christos, you obviously said, in terms of Greece, there are also many instances where potentially there is, sort of horrible sort of activities at the behind of this, potentially. Some people sort of setting alight to things. Natasha Milch in Israel isn't particularly nice either this summer, weather-wise. Yeah, I mean, you know, the world feels a very fragile place. And so, you know, you sort of hear of these kind of far-flung places, of beautiful places, and you're just like, oh my God, you know, really? You may have seen me completely lose my shit in the week about the migrant crisis and that guy who told them all to F off back to France. Yeah, I can't say his name. He just annoys me. He doubled down on it the other day, given an opportunity to say, perhaps I used my language was too strong. And he was like, a cocky fucker. He was like, no. I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. I mean, it's clearly seen to be such a bad thing if you ever climb down or ever say, you know, I'd have more respect if he said, you know what, I shouldn't have said it. It was a bit over the top. But no. I mean, double down on it. Well, it's all kicked off again, hasn't it, with the barge, front of the mirror. Deadly bug on barge. What an absolute mess. What an absolute mess. So, in a sense, the very thing that what's his name? Les Anderson. Is it Les Anderson? It wasn't Les Anderson. No, that's the guy who was played by Dame Edna, isn't it? Or Lee Anderson. Is it Lee Anderson?
Oh, Lee Anderson.
Yeah, Lee Anderson. The funny thing about this, what's not funny though, is that he's, you know, people, you know, he was saying that in response to migrants not wanting to go onto the barge, the Bibi Stockholm. And now they discovered that people could, if they do go on the barge, could die from Legionnaire's disease. The discovery of Legionella in the water supply sparked fears of a Legionnaire's disease outbreak. I mean, there would be nothing really on in PR terms. I mean, the terrible thing about this is, and this is a terrible fact, there'll be lots of people in the country who couldn't give a flying monkey's jollop about asylum seekers getting a deadly airborne virus. That's where we're at. It's be like, you know, what are you complaining about? What are you complaining about? It seems weird. It's sort of strange, dark, twisted serendipity to this story breaking in the same week that he said you should just F off back to France if you don't like the barge. Because that was the clarification he was making. He was talking about the barge. If you don't want to get on the barge, go back to France. And now we've discovered the barge isn't necessarily fit for purpose. Sawalha Braverman faces call to resign after Legionella is found on the migrant barge. As we know, absolutely nothing will budge Sawalha Braverman. You know what? Possibly because she's got the word brave in her name. That's why she can say things like the other day about, let's hunt them down. We will find them on the beaches and we'll hunt them down. Hunt them down. Fran, I've seen some horrible comments online about this as if they aren't human beings. When did we lose our humanity? That is the bit I don't understand, Fran. I'm with you. It's just a bit of humor. Someone commented under the thing saying, classic middle class out of touch with working class. Humanity isn't about class. You can agree with policies, you can disagree with policies. I've always said the world has a genuine migrant crisis problem because you can't, literally millions upon millions of people coming into different countries all over the world which don't have the infrastructure to cope will create problems. But there needs to be some kind of global approach, and before we even get into the nitty-gritty of the global approach, a humanitarian human approach. So to whoever it was who was going on about, oh, classic middle class, working class, working class, middle class, upper class, have compassion rather than just a knee-jerk reaction and okay, well, there you go. That's what happens. A little detail here in the eye, if you have a look here, is also there's fear that the fire brigades unions say that the vessel could also be a fire risk. They need to tread carefully here, because if something catastrophic were to happen on this, it would present an incredibly inhumane and troublesome picture to the rest of the world, especially as we pull ourselves out of the European Court of Human Rights in order to get everyone on ships to Rwanda or flights to Rwanda or whatever. Exactly, Mitchell. As soon as climate change really digs its sort of gets its finger, I mean, we haven't even started yet, but once the impact of climate change really kicks in, what's being dealt with right now is an absolute drop, no pun intended at all, is a drop in the ocean, complete drop in the ocean. You're going to see migration on a scale that we've never even comprehended before. So yeah, that's it could be a fire risk too. Yeah, Karanula, millions of refugees don't come here; they go to many other countries. Absolutely right. No, what I'm saying, Karen, is that we have, it's an increasing global problem. It's not a national problem. So, people who get all jingoistic and nationalistic about their borders and everything else, this is way bigger than, in a sense, the incidental stupidity of borders. This is about the developed countries rinsing the planet, and now in a really patronizing fashion turning around to the rest of the world saying, just be happy with what you've got or what you haven't got, because we can't cope with you now. That, in essence, that's what's happened here, really. What have we got here? On the front of the Daily Mail, pressing everyone on the trans row, pressure to change NHS guidance that says patients who temporarily identify as female can share single-sex spaces. This is the story that the Health Secretary faced pressure last night to scrap shocking rules that mean patients who only occasionally identify as women can share female-only hospital wards. Well, there are two aspects to this. I think being occasionally a woman, if that's a thing, then of course they should not be allowed onto women's wards. I think there has to be some kind of holding ward or a third ward of some form. If someone is, for whatever justified reasons, oscillating in an incredibly frequent fashion, you can see how this could absolutely be exploited potentially. But again, it being plonked on the front of the Daily Mail, it's the culture wars, isn't it? It's the culture wars that the Daily Mail is always interested in. This other story really shocked me, as I'm hearing lots of young adults talking about, university, best years of your life, accommodation. Anyone here go to university? When I went to college, I didn't. Lots of people did a gap year, right? I didn't do a gap year. And if you didn't do a gap year at my university, you went straight into a shared dormitory room. And I shared a room with a guy called Neville. Completely polar opposites. He had a poster of Dave Lee. He was a heavy metal guy. Dave Lee was like big hair. And I remember sitting on my bed when I got there thinking, I hadn't met him. His poster was right up there. Dave Lee, I can't remember what his name was. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can do this at all. I get that, Aaron. I think if gender fluidity, I get. I think, but I do think there is concern, isn't there, that people can say it, and how is there any way within a ward or a place which needs, women want to feel safe, people who are gender fluid want to feel safe. I just wonder whether sometimes there needs to be, for people who are gender fluid, I'd have thought sometimes, Dave Lee Roth, thank you, Elaine Denning, I'd have thought sometimes everyone just wants their own space just to feel safe. And I think, I think trans and gender fluid people deserve their own space to be safe too, so they can avoid these freaking headlines as much as anything else. So yeah, so Dave Lee Roth. I had Dave Lee Roth looking down on me for years. Anyway, me and Neville, we weren't cut from the same cloth, but we were incredibly tolerant of each other. We kind of just got on with it. But student accommodation. This story on the front of the Times is the story that universities are now unable to guarantee accommodation. There's this idea that universities are promising to provide accommodation only to students that make them their first choice institution. I can't remember, is this still a thing, UCAS, where back in the day, we'd home in on 5 universities, we'd want to go to all of them, you'd try and get offered places at all of them, and then out of those 5, you had to choose your top 2. And then, of course, once you chose your top 2, the other 3 went, fuck you, we're out of here, you know, and all that kind of stuff. So it was always a bit of a troubling moment where you went, oh, these are the 2 I'm going for. But the ones so what they're saying is, only if you guarantee them as your first choice will they give you accommodation. Madness. Bristol University is offering accommodation in Wales. In Wales. I mean, it's not that far, but it's far enough. Exeter University has 5 applicants for every place at its most popular location. Glasgow University has said that in years of exceptional demand, it cannot promise to house anyone by the start of term whose family home is less than an hour away. I think what's going to start happening, guys, is more and more people are. I remember when I went to the University of Kent, people were like, "Oh, you're not leaving London. You're not going very far from London." I was like, "No, I'm going for the degree that I want to take. It's got the best teaching team. It's da-da-da-da." And but I think, but lots of people are like, "No, you want to get away from home." You know, back in the 80s, it was like, "Get away from home as far as possible." I mean, the fact that my mum had moved out of the house and there wasn't a home there, so it didn't bother me. It was just close to London. I think more and more people are just gonna start, going to college closer to home, and they'll stay at home. I do genuinely think that whole empty nest thing is gonna fade away for a huge number of people because it's just totally unaffordable. Laura Lou, a lot of people in Wales stay living at home while at uni. Why not? I mean, who was it who said it? Someone, I think it was Gloria Honeyford, I saw this week, said, paying rent. Like if she has a grandchild paying £1,000 rent a month, you may as well take it, put it in a bin liner and just hurl it to the bottom of the sea. Try and find a way of keeping it in the family and potentially, put that money somewhere else. Save it or something like that. It just gets crazy. It just makes... It's because the system narrative demands it of everyone. Keep the system going. It's not about you. It's about the system. All that kind of bollocks. So yeah. Anyway, that was shocking. Football. Who's watching the football later? Our best is yet to come, says England goalkeeper before Colombia football match. Goalkeeper Mary Earps has said the best is yet to. Yeah. It's always. Let's hope so. Yeah, what about the students from clearing, Jane Bentley? I think the whole system's broke. It's a load of old nonsense. We need a major shake-up, says MeTube. I've always said that there should be more types of unis. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, why can't Tesco or BT offer degrees in their specialisms? Agree. Watching it now, good game on now, Cloda. Yeah, so obviously this is England hoping to beat Colombia and get into the semi-finals. I hope so. I mean, yeah, let's hope so. Let's hope we get there. An interesting story that developed last week with the increase in women now playing football. Apparently, there's an epidemic of women suffering cruciate ligament injuries. The suggestion being that the female leg, potentially, isn't designed in quite the same way as the male leg to withstand those sideways. I mean, I did my cruciate years ago. And apparently there's huge number of women footballers or women, epidemic apparently in the NHS of women seeking cruciate ligament keyhole surgery. So yeah. Now this story, absolutely. Harry Kane's on the front of the papers. I was going to mention him in a moment. Bye Bayern Munich. Bye Bayern Harry. Oh God, it's not a very good headline. So that's that. Yeah, I flew to paradise to have my baby on a beach. It turned into a nightmare. I don't know what I think about this story. What do you think about this? This is a British mother who, with her partner, flew 4,000 miles to have her baby as natural as possible on a beach. give birth on a beach. She's now stranded off the coast of Grenada. Grenada, is it? Grenada. The couple set off from their home in Manchester in April when she was 35 weeks pregnant. They planned to go to St. Lucia so she could fulfill her dream of having the most natural birth. Her waters broke as the couple made their way from Martinique to St. Lucia by boat, and the baby was born at sea. So all of that is well and good. All of that is well and good. Beach birth couple, but they're now trapped. They're now trapped in an administrative hell. Yeah. They can't get it registered because when they try to get it registered, they say the registrars say they need proof that it's theirs. And I'm wondering whether, in going for an incredibly natural birth, maybe they sort of poo-pooed the idea of filming it in any way. But if they were on a boat, maybe if he's got footage, they could show it. So they've been locked in a bureaucratic battle trying to get her home. A few days after the birth, they travelled to the hospital in St. Lucia to get her checked over and register her birth. They wouldn't carry out the registration because it was not within 24 hours. The pair then visited the registry on the Caribbean island, but they were rejected again. The registry office said they couldn't do anything as the baby wasn't born in the hospital and nobody witnessed the birth. So they're possibly in a situation where they might have to call a fisherman or a boat driver or the captain, the skipper of a little tut-tut boat to prove that they were there. Wow. We're stateless and we're prisoners, they're saying. Immigration officials then told the couple they need proof the baby's theirs before a passport office said they could not help because the couple had no proof of where she was born. Now they claim the UK High Commission have told them they need a DNA test, which they are still waiting for the results of. They feel stranded and abandoned. How a bliss, sort of home birth, au naturel, all that kind of stuff, plans and ambitions go to pot. Yeah, administrative hell. There you go, and there they are. He's looking up, I think, because he's thinking, is that a plane that we can get over there? Oh yeah, this story here was this is Sharon Davies, who was obviously critical. I can't remember specifically of what. I think of an advertising campaign that featured a trans model. She says that her children have received abuse from activists who are opposed to her views on trans women's participation in sports. Isn't that terrible? She said she's been vilified after campaigning for transgender women to be prevented, from joining female competitions. So she's been targeted. It's just a sort of brutal world, isn't it? By Bayern Harry, £104 million for old Harry Kane, finally moving from Spurs. I didn't realise he was at Tottenham since the age of 16. He's off. He's moving to the German Giants. Obviously, papers making a big deal of the fact that it's the first England captain to play for a German team. God, blimey. It's like, don't mention the war and all that. Kane's planes and Auf Wiedersehens. That's quite good. Quite a nice alliterative, almost poetic there by the Daily Mail. Kane's planes and Auf Wiedersehens. £100 million pound Harry flies off with his wife to join Bayern Munich into a whole new culture of wags. Wow. But the biggest sporting event of the year, it'll be 104 million. I mean, it's 104 million. Let's not beat around the bush. I guess, and I'd imagine that's probably a 3-year deal or something. Wow. Who remembers the day when, was it Trevor Francis was the first footballer to be sold for £1 million, I think, or £999,999, I think. This story, this could be the sporting event of the century, though. Will Musk and Zuckerberg's big fight take place in the Colosseum? We can entertain this thought. This is obviously the story that Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk were squaring up for a cage fight. And Elon Musk has been apparently on the blower to I think the mayor of Rome or something, trying to get the Colosseum as a possible venue. He said, I think Musk posted something somewhere saying, I want to do it somewhere where there's nothing new or high tech or modern. I have to say, I mean, it's going to be a pretty sort of hideous spectacle, but I'd take time to watch this, wouldn't you? I'd want to watch this. It won't happen. Entirely different weights won't happen. I want this to happen. It's not often that I want a fight, but I want this fight to happen. They're losing their shit, these guys, aren't they? I mean, having a midlife crisis, like Elon in a sort of Iron Man sort of outfit or gladiator outfit. But yeah, the plan and the hope is to try and do it there. But where have all the adults gone, Lucy Heaney? Me too, but it kind of, I feel it has to happen. I feel that you can't be these two sort of guys running their defining social media platforms, spouting all the big I am and making all this promising, and not do it. I think it has to happen. I want to see it happen. My problem or my worry is that I think Musk might send an AI sort of clone of himself or something. We talked about the Oxford Street TikTok mass raid madness. This is where TikTok kind of started spouting the idea that everyone should head to Oxford Street and raid JD Sports. Well, apparently this is happening in many other places. Essex police had to head out to Southend as youths youths were sent posts about targeting the seaside city. Bexley Heath shopping centre could be the next target. Lots of balaclava-covered youngsters heading off to loot. You'd think TikTok could somehow get a handle on this, don't you? What's this one? Oh, this is the story. Trust. Oh, I don't know how I feel about this. Richard Grindley, it's been reported to happen near me today. There you go. You see, they seem to be happening everywhere. It's a little bit, it's a sort of social media, let me just remove that, social media version of that summer many years ago when, the heat and disenfranchisedness kind of kicked in and everyone just went, sort of started raiding curries in Brixton or what have you. This is the National Trust has pleaded with Harry Potter fans to stop leaving trinkets at a memorial for a fictional elf that died in the final book, Dobby. Makeshift shrine to one of the series' most well-loved characters Dobby has seen some of the items left by fans recently removed. It's understood the items might have been moved by beach cleaners, although this isn't confirmed. What do you think about this? I mean, I suppose, yes, there's a littering thing, there's a pollution thing. I find things like this sweet. Yeah, do you remember when they burnt down the shop in Croydon? Absolutely. Summer riots was scary, Nicola Randall, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I suppose otherwise, this just becomes a dumping ground, doesn't it? There was one near us in the local park for something. I can't remember what it was. It was quite nice. It's quite nice. Maybe they could construct something. Maybe they could make something, and then people could actually put their stones in it. I think Elaine, let's have a look at it. I think it's beautiful too. It's a nice photo. I don't know. Sometimes it might be the right thing, but yes, Edward Bevington, strictly speaking, it is littering. Is it not? Is it not? It's littering. Liz Dennis, 69, rounds off Strictly's oldest crop of contestants. I'm not a Strictly fan, but, I'm sure many, many are. That's great. Angela Rippon and him. Could be fun. Maybe. This is everywhere. The original supermodels prove they're still the best as they reunite for Vogue. Right? I do feel a bit... I think, obviously, they've aged really well. Yeah? But let's have another little look. They all look like they're in a state of shock. Their eyes look quite wide and panic-stricken. Let's have another look. They all famously appeared on Vogue cover. Naomi Campbell, Linda Evangelista, Christy Turlington, and Cindy Crawford posed for the magazine's cover 33 years after doing so as a group. I mean, don't get me wrong, they look absolutely fantastic, don't they? But again, it's quite bleached out. They're quite like that and all the rest of it. But everyone's getting very excited about that. Throw in the towel. We were talking about towel wars. Nadia can't stop ranting about this. Throw in the towel. This is Croatia. Croats join beach wars. Brits' gear slung away. Let's check this out. So it starts with, look at that. Does that in any way feel staged? I don't know. But even if it is, I suppose what they're trying to say is this is emblematic of what's going on. on resorts. But you don't leave your towels, guys, because these chaps who aren't mucking about will come along, grab them, and hurl them in the back of a truck. It just seems to. It's the year of the sun lounger, isn't it? It's the year. I mean, it's like that advert. Wasn't there an advert years ago, Heineken advert or something, where a British tourist didn't he sort of, or someone throw the towel and it landed just in front of a German couple or something like that. They do look amazing, Marina O'Driscoll. They really do. What have I got here? Oh, this is a good one. There's nothing worse than a shit sorry. Who here accepts an apology? What makes a good apology? I think, in many regards, not saying sorry and changing things for the better. Or saying, I'm not going to say sorry. I mean, maybe one can fold this into it. You know what? I'm not going to actually apologize. I'm going to prove that actions speak louder than words and then make it happen. Anyway, this story here is how an apology gift can make matters worse. I agree. It's like if I'm given a plastic, I don't know, let's say I'm given a plastic turkey that squeaks as an apology by Toffee. Say she did that for, I don't know, chewing one of my shoes. All I'm ever going to think when I look at that plastic turkey is Toffee let me down. I'm just going to be reminded of disappointment. So anyway, this is a study, if you can believe it. Researchers from the Wageningen University in the Netherlands picked 2 gift products, flowers and chocolates, and examined the effect of an apology label on the items. The results of the study showed that both chocolates and flowers with an apology label were evaluated less positively than those with a plain gift label or no label. So don't overcook the apology. Don't give flowers with a note going, I'm so sorry. It kills them. Just give flowers because it allows the apology receiver to forget the kind of original misdemeanor. I think that's the idea. Gifts to say sorry were perceived as strong negative reminders of a transgression and were more likely to be regifted. So if Toffee gave me that squeaky turkey, I'm more likely to give that to Chi-Chi because I don't want to be reminded of how disappointed I am in Toffee. Do you get me? I need to see their eyes to check their sincerity. Karanula, check out the No Name Sunday show goes out tomorrow. And one of the memes that Maddie's found is so funny on this very topic. The idea of if someone chooses to believe you or not by the look in your eyes and how you can't change them round once they've decided you're not telling the truth. It's very, very funny. Does the phrase carping on or to carp on about something, does that come from fishing? Have we got any fishermen or fisherwomen here? Anyone who's into fishing? I tried it once with one of my mum's girlfriends. It was the most boring 3 hours of my life. It was, ADHD, hyperactive kid. Oh my God. And to be repeatedly told that breathing was distressing the fish when they're in the loudest harp on. Is it harp on? But there is a phrase to carp. He's carping on about it. No? It was a harp. Oh no, you're right. It's harping on. Richard, what am I? You need to take me fishing, mate. You need to take me to a place where there's fish, though. I never understood how I distressed fish when they were in what looked to me like a really distressing river full of distressing things. But it was me. Oh, it is harp on. Okay. Well, this guy's carping on. This is a chap. Let me show you. Look at this chap. Back in 1991, teenager Dave with a carp that was 14 pounds in weight. And you're not going to believe this. This is the one that didn't get away, as the Daily Mirror says. He landed the same fish this year. Okay, now, you're all asking, how does he know? Well, I think if you look at where his hand is, he knows this fish intimately. No, I'm joking. He said the carp's unique markings and scale patterns showed it was the same carp, that then weighed 14 pounds and he caught as a teenager. He said, as soon as I saw it, this is like love at first sight. Richard, as a fisherman, do you get this connection away from the rat race? See, Richard, once again, away from the rat race life, listening to nature. See, I wasn't. I was an aggravating, irritating little shit sat next to Wendy, who was trying to patiently do exactly what you were saying. Would you believe this, Richard? Guys, do you think is this the same fish? Did he have a conversation? He said, as soon as I saw it, as soon as he saw it in the water, I knew it was the same one I caught in the early 90s. I wonder if there was like a moment where like a sort of like, sort of soft-edged heart sort of emerged. See, I think he's carping on. Harping on. Is it harping on? Carping on. Oh, I loved it. Well, I love this story. Listen, look at this. Pedro Pascal. Any Pedro Pascal fans? So get this. You've got a little gallery in Margate. Pedro Pascal, huge Hollywood star now. Everyone loves him. Star of The Last of Us. He's been in loads and loads of movies. And you have a small little gallery in Margate, which we did a vlog in. Lovely little place. Oh, you've done it 4 years apart, Richard. Wow, Richard has caught the same fish 4 years apart. Wow, fish is thinking, not again. Oh, the fish is thinking, not again. I thought you meant fishing is thinking. Fishing is thinking. It's mindfulness, isn't it, Richard? You're absolutely right. So you've got a gallery, and you've got an exhibition of Pedro Pascal. He only comes and fucking visits, but you're shut. The owner of an art gallery featuring an exhibition dedicated to the Hollywood star Pedro Pascal has said she's mortified that it was closed when he turned up for a visit. Pascal, 48, turned up to the Rhodes Gallery on Sunday, but the door was closed. That is bad luck. Which kind of leads us on to the big story that I know all of you from Instagram have been desperate to sink your teeth into in more ways than one, which is Rise of the Sani Psychos. Can't leave the Daily Star. I love their sub-headline here. Filthy beasts filling sandwiches with beans. And, you turn to page 7. They're a sandwich short of a picnic. This is the idea that shoving baked beans and other unholy Sani combos between slices of bread is the work of the devil. Other odd combos include tuna and pineapple, sausage and peanut butter. Oh, what kind of a combo do you have? A sandwich combo that others consider to be hideous, but you would die for? Marmalade and coleslaw. Marmalade literally makes me want to chop my toes off. It really does. And then put them in a preserve, keep it for 4 years, and then give it spread on toast to whoever gave me marmalade. Marmalade is offensive. Richard Grindley, cheese and lime pickle. I think, what else have we got? Oh, they're coming through. Cheese and pickle, Joni. I'm not a fan of pickle. What other combos have we got here? Banana and mayo. Banana and mayo. Dear Heart, you love marmalade. Fran, you love marmalade. Peanut butter and cucumber, Tara Surridge. A peanut butter and cucumber. That's an odd one. Marina O'Driscoll, tuna and cucumber. Heather Draper, I love squidging banana and cheap white bread, nothing else. My nan used to do squidge banana with sugar on it into white bread. And the crunch of the sugar crystals was like, when you get sand in your teeth, except sugar in your teeth like this is like beautiful sand. It's like shiny, beautiful sweet sand. No wonder I was hyperactive and a nightmare to go fishing with. Dear Heart, Paddington loves marmalade. I know. That's why I want to punch Paddington sometimes. I mean, I like him. Sometimes I just want to give him a good old punch in the face and just say, come on, marmalade, really? Who are you kidding? What's this? Oh yeah, that's picking a holiday winner. We were talking last week about kids getting bored in the summer. Classic childhood pastimes are coming back. Try suggesting this to any youngster I know or have heard of, and you'll be poked in the eye with a poo stick. Make daisy chains. Go picking berries. Play poo sticks and paddling in streams. Children are also making the most popular way. Classic childhood pastimes like berry picking and having a holiday revival due to the cost of living crisis. I don't know if they are. I just think kids are really bored. And I don't know. If I was to have said, I don't know. Oh, this story is funny. Look at this. Man drives 150 miles. Well, it's funny, but not funny. He couldn't get a taxi, so he stole a car at Gatwick Airport and drove 130 miles an hour. after being refused. I mean, you know what? Hell hath no fury like someone landing in arrivals at Gatwick at 4 a.m. in the morning after an EasyJet nightmare, and there being no cars and no way to get home, no tubes, no trains, nothing. I'm not suggesting that he should do this, but you know, he was clearly driven. Look, police have released video footage online of a man who stole a taxi, literally stole a taxi. He was having none of it. He was like, I'm out of here, I'm out of here, I'm out of here. Wait 100 years for potholes to be fixed as cash for roads is cut. So if you're destroying the tyres down your road, it ain't going to happen in your lifetime. yeah, just terrible. And some photos. So for those of you listening, you're going to have to use the great sort of skills of imaginative thought to construct these images. But for some reason, the Daily Star has centre pages suggesting that these are what they call magical mutts. Apparently, these dogs are just clever and magical. I don't know if they are. I think their owners have just put things on their heads. So here we go. A dog with some pansies on his head. Yeah, it's very still. Got a dog with a bottle of glass water. Clearly hasn't got a drinking problem, that dog. This one, egghead. Magical mutt. He's got eggs on his head. Don't quite know how long that lasted before they stopped taking the photograph. Dog after Nanny Di's heart. This is the dog that Nanny Di needs, because he'll clearly bring her lots and lots of toilet roll. He's very focused. He's zen, isn't he? And he's clearly doing that in order to get that dog bowl behind him filled. This one, I don't think looks particularly fair. He's got a kettle on his head. I don't think he's aware of what's going on, really. And then this, can anyone guess what this is? This is an astonishing photograph. What do you think this is? Yeah, come on, guys. Tell me. And for those of you listening, this is impossible. But we're looking at something that looks like a puffer fish without a head or tail, attaching itself to something else. And no, this isn't a snapshot of what's going on in Nadia's bra on a Sunday afternoon. That could be. This is a germinating pollen grain on a flower stigma. I thought it was COVID, Amfran. No, look at that. This is a grain of pollen on a flower stigma. Who remembers the word stigmata? Stigmata? No, stigma from school. Stamen. Stamen. We'd all run around pretending we had our own stamens. Yeah. And finally, this image is a rather beautiful image. This is a convoy of London double-decker buses making its way across Wiltshire under a rainbow. Vehicles are part of a tourist initiative once a year where visitors can see one of Britain's rare abandoned villages. Imber was empty during the Second World War. Oh, there's a place in Dorset a little bit like this. And so you can go and visit on these buses to Imber. We should do it. We should take a bus to Imber and take you all there. So there you go, guys. There's your Saturday papers. And now there's no curly cooks. What can I say? Head back into earlier in the week. There's a little special snapshot, some behind-the-scenes stuff that happened last weekend at SEAM in the No Name Sunday show that's landing tomorrow. So go and check that out. Otherwise, I hope you have a lovely fun-packed Saturday. Something else will be landing on the channel later.